Hello and welcome to another webinar episode. This time we have a very special guest. She's our ambassador. Her name is Ekaterina, and we are going to talk today about sustainable fashion, that I think is a topic that a lot of persons are asking to themselves in 2022.
That's very true. Hi, Tanya. Thanks for having me. I'm very excited to be joining. It's my first webinar, hopefully not the last with the youth time. And indeed, I think when you suggested me this topic of sustainable fashion, I kind of immediately jumped on board because I do think that we need to talk more about why it's important. And being myself an active consumer, I'm also rethinking ways in which I buy clothes, because I think it's nowadays we are living in the culture of crazy consumerism, and crazy not always in the positive sense. It's iPhones, it's which of course is understandable. That's also nature of capitalism, but at the same time, it can be really dangerous because there is global warming. There are a lot of issues that our planet's facing. They might seem to be far away, but in the end of the day, it is dangerous. And I think fashion and so-called Mac fashion, like McDonald's type of fashion, I think it's part of the problem. So I came across this really interesting article by Vogue, and I thought it offers some really cool tips. And maybe people who will watch this today can also learn something new for themselves. At least I learned, and I would love to share taking this opportunity.
Yes, totally. I agree in everything that you say. It's very important to have the conscience to take care of our planet, because in every small details you can see and you can make the difference. Well,
Yeah. So let's start with our tips maybe, and then I think I can just list them. I think there are only 10 tips, just not to bore our audience, just to know that there is the end at the end of the tunnel. But at the same time, yeah, let's try to keep them. I'll try to keep them concise and to the point, and then would be cool if you can also comment on them and maybe share your experiences if we can relate to that or not. So the first tip is buy less and buy better. It might sound like a cliche and it might sound like a difficult thing to actually buy less. But what I read is that there are 100 billion garments produced globally every year. And it's like mind-boggling information for me, because think about it, 100 billion garments. And also many of them are not being produced in a very ethical way, which is the issue, because often we see like labels made in Bangladesh, made in Vietnam, and you just think like, oh, well, it's made in Vietnam. But now we know, we have access, we can inform ourselves that this is done by kids. This is done by people who are not even enjoying, they're like forced for this labor. So it's maybe easy to not think about it, but on the other hand, it is true that these people are being exploited. And as much as we want to buy that H&M top, which costs €5, in the end of the day, the price is these people and their labor. And I think buy less and buy better, it's a good place to start with.
Yeah, totally. I've been seeing in social media actually how sometimes the cloth is saying like some messages from the people that is working, like help or like send us food or telephone numbers that's true. It's correct. They are like in some way abusing of these kids or like people, that they're creating massive ways of clothes, and also it's massive way of trash, or like, and having maybe one good t-shirt of good quality can make you like use it constantly and don't like just like putting once and then just throw it and you have there, and then you buy another one, and it's like maybe you think you just one, but it's just like one person. So if all the persons will do the same, it's crazy.
Also, I don't know if we're allowed to name brands. You can cut it later if we're not, but what you're referring to, I think it's this brand called Shein, where people leave messages. I also saw that on social media. I have to tell you one story quickly.
Mm-hmm.
in Madrid, I had like this pop-up ads appearing on my algorithms telling me that there is a Shane pop-up store. And I happened to be in the city center. I was passing by, so I saw this. And can you guess how long the line to the shop was? Like, how long was it?
I can imagine that it was long.
And speaking of that, like we all are aware of that, but it just terrified me. The line was like, I don't know, 2 kilometers. And it was just to get to the shop to buy stuff. It was not like free stuff. So seeing that and seeing that I was also kind of curious to go and check it out made me like realize that sometimes you think, you're not part of the problem, but you are because you have general curiosity and it's hard to buy less and buy better. And also, if you're students, I'm sure like people who are watching us, when you're a young person, maybe you're on a budget. I totally get that, been there, done that. But also like a lot of the t-shirts that I bought, in the end of the day, I would wear them for a few months and that's it, and then I had to throw them away or donate them or do something with them. Whereas if you spend maybe a bit more money, and like easier said than done, I understand every person has different financial backgrounds, but still, at least it will serve you longer. So in the long run, that's why it's called sustainable fashion. In the long run, it's a win-win situation. But what I kind of also hesitate about sometimes when I think about this topic is I'm the kind of person I sometimes I like variety. And that's what I'm struggling with. Because if I bought one piece of clothes and I wear it for 5 years, I mean, let's take it to the extreme, it's kind of hard for me not to get bored with it. Do you also experience that? And what do you do in that case?
Yes, I experience also before I could say that I was buying more and not using so much, and now I'm getting into the idea like exactly buy less but of quality. Before I could buy a lot of like things that I definitely didn't need it. But now I'm trying to think like what I need and what I can use for long, like is nice, not just buying for like because I just want, But yeah, I'm trying now to see different, but of course it's like some moment that it's like the past season and you want some new, and yeah, I get it.
And another like tip that Vogue mentions, invest in sustainable fashion brands. So I think here it also comes down to informing ourselves, because there are those designers, and it's also amazing when you can support local designers. There are a lot of talented people, and maybe they also do sales if it's the money question. But there are designers who use the upcycled textiles in their designs, meaning that it's at least made from recycled stuff, so it's already not as damaging. And also about variety, I think my way, there are nowadays popular capsule wardrobes. So basically it's combining certain basic things, and I'm still learning because I like to mix and match, but sometimes, there are things that are hard to do it. But I think it's also like a way to challenge yourself, channel your inner creativity and try to think, okay, how can I put things together? Maybe I have basic white t-shirt, blue jeans, and some jacket. It doesn't have to be like colors and prints, but there are always ways, which is cool.
Yes, and I agree. Now in 2022, there are a lot of designers that are trying to help the planet, that they're like, they try to do it better for the future, for fashion and for us, because for creating the clothes is crazy massive water and things that we don't see. We just like it and we do it. That I mean, it's okay just to have the knowledge and to choose the correct brands. It's important.
Yeah, totally. One more tip that they have is to shop secondhand and vintage, and that tip I totally love because I'm guilty of like going and picking stuff from my mom's or my grandma's wardrobe. And sometimes I'm amazed. I think they say that fashion tends to make circles, like now there are things coming from 60s, from the 80s, from the previous times. And actually I'm impressed how good what a good quality that these items have. Because what I found in like my grandma's wardrobe, I would wear and my friends would tell me like, wow, that looks great. And I'm like, yeah, it's really like many years old, but that's kind of the fun part about it.
Yeah, now it's trend. Now we can call it
Mm.
that it's a trend to use vintage. Like you say, all the cycles of fashions they are repeating, like after certain time. And right now I could see like a very good brands that are helping ecologically and that they can be expensive. You can find it in vintage and you're like with reusing them and it's very good. It's still very good material that you don't need to throw it. And also, well, it can help you like if you have like young people that probably don't have like enough money to buy from a designer, it's like some way that you can have something sustainable and you can still like have, you can still help.
Totally. And there are apps for that. There is an app that I'm personally using. It's called Vinted. I know that it's quite popular in Europe right now. I think it was developed in Lithuania. Actually, I don't know why, but it's popular in Spain, in Netherlands, in France. I think it's most popular actually in France. But basically, it's really fun because you look at all your clothes. You can do clothes, but you also can do all the other items that you basically don't need or you want to sell or resell. And you upload it. It takes like, I don't know, a minute to do that. And then it's a really cool way to like to buy things yourself if you need them, but for, like secondhand things from other people. And what surprises me, many things that you can buy there, then you with tags. So it means like people just have, I don't know, dresses or something hanging for years, including myself, which maybe this dress didn't fit me and I still kept it in my wardrobe for years. And it feels just so good. So like Marie Kondo, this very famous
Yes.
like designer and how she teaches people to live simple. But it really feels like very Marie Kondo to just like free the space that you have. And also thinking, okay, that person didn't go and buy some fast fashion item. They actually bought it from me. And it's just again like win-win. Another app that I know is called Wallapop. It's also famous in Spain. But regardless where you come from, I'm sure like if you come from Prague or from any other place, these apps exist and it's just like they serve community very well and they do support the idea of secondhand, which I love.
Yeah, yeah, I can share it like also I'm from Mexico, so in Mexico City sometimes they do like markets and they put there like the girls, boys come with the clothes and they can do also exchange. Maybe you don't need to pay, but you exchange it, so you're giving it. And maybe also it is like another possibility of having another cloth without spending another. Just if you don't have something that maybe exactly doesn't fit you or you don't want it anymore, you can also check if you are like from, I don't know, from the America or something like that. Like everything is possible. We have everything the keys in our hands to make everything. Now it's like you can do it. It's not anything that you cannot say like no, 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 it's not possible.
I think it's just like putting some thoughts and some energy into that because we're all busy. We all just like buy, buy, buy. And I do think there are people who do enjoy just going with friends and shopping because it's a fun process. There are also people who just like doing it by themselves. I mean, sure, it's all like, it's a fun process, but I think I'm just thinking more and more about like the impact we have on our society. And I met a friend from Prague recently and we realized we have one thing in common. We're both really obsessed with recycling. And when we we're both from Russia. So when we lived back in Russia, it's just not that we didn't like the idea. It was just not available, but now I do it every single day. It's like brushing my teeth. I have bags in my house. It's different colors. It's easy. It's fun. So I think it's the same about like sustainable fashion. You have to make it a habit and you have to
Yes.
kind of stop yourself from over consuming. And one more tip that I found interesting is to try rent clothes. I've never actually done that myself. I don't know if you
Yeah,
have
I
such
did
a
it. I did it.
really.
I
Can
did
you
it.
tell me?
Yeah. Actually, I would like. Right now, I can say that the prices sometimes when want something from designer can be exactly expensive. So I wanted to save it. I wanted to go to a wedding, and they're so very nice dresses here in Prague, and I needed to go to attend to a wedding. So I rented, and they were having so many, so I could choose, and it's not the crazy price that I know that this dress I probably will use it like 3 times in my life or something, or every wedding every 5 years. So it's better in my perspective. Always like if you want some like expensive dress and you are not viable to buy it, just go and rent it for 3 days. And it is like less than the half. I think like quarter of the price where you can have it, and just yeah, you just put it for 3 days or two. The time you want to rent it, of course, it is like different price, and you just give it, and then next time you can have another one. And I think that that's great because it happened a couple of times to me that I bought dresses and they're like there for 3 years, and then I try to put it, and then I think no, better next time, and they're still in my closet.
Totally. I think especially when it comes to like big occasions, like you're saying, dressy dresses, like the ones that you wear, I don't know, for prom.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to sell my prom dresses on this app that I just mentioned on Vinted, and like I don't need it. I wore it once. I felt like a princess. It was great, but in the end of the day, it's time to move on, and it just like makes me feel good to imagine someone else wearing it and enjoying it, and totally. And even about like simpler things, I don't see why, or like some designer shoes that like maybe not all of us can afford it, and you think why spending so much money? But if it's a special occasion, totally a good idea. I also learned a new term, which is greenwashing. And another tip is to avoid greenwashing. Do you happen to know what it is?
Tell us a little bit more about
No, I
greenwashing.
just thought like, I think we all know what it is. I'm just like making it intriguing, more intriguing than it is.
I think
It,
that, well, I will say my perspective is like
yes, go for it. I love
brands that they sell themselves like ecological and they're not.
Here you go, totally. Yeah. It's basically when we hear like this vague descriptions, or when you just have the slogans like, fashionable words like environmentally helpful. And unfortunately, in the end of the day, it can be very hypocritical and not true to reality. So, once again, I think it would be really cool if there was initiative where ecology or environmentalism became like subjects at school, because I do think it's about like personal ethics, but it's also about simply educating kids. And I've been at the activities where kids are being taught it. And yeah, like we can still learn, but if you start from the basic, from teaching younger people, I think we would have much more conscious consumerism in place.
Definitely. I think that well, the planet is our home. We need to keep it for our future generations, and I think indeed is very important. Recycling, everything, the process of ecological. I surprise myself when I come to Europe, and I like how here they take it really serious, like plastic and everything. And in Latin America, we still don't have it. That I will love that this initiative is starting, but here I like it how it is. But if they will have it in the school from the beginning, the world will be so much different.
Yeah, exactly. I do think there are already positive changes with people trying, and there are even fashion icons like, I don't know, Bella Hadid or Rihanna, or like famous personalities who give good examples to all of us, who basically show that you don't have to spend. I mean, they also spend a lot of money, but they can still say, look, I bought it at Vintage. And a lot of girls like me and you will also be like, okay, what's the problem? It's not like I think it used to be considered like why to buy vintage when you can buy new, but now there is no stigma around it, and I think it's really cool.
Yeah, actually, that reminds me that I saw a chapter of the Kardashians, and Kim Kardashian has something that I think, in my opinion, is great. She has like a wardrobe where she has like from 10 years her clothes. So for she don't buying extra clothes, she just go there and she choose what she used in the past. So I think this is like a good, like a way to show the people that you can still save some clothes and maybe you can use it one day also without buying.
That's so true. One girl that I know, she did this experiment where she decided she wants to go a year. Oh, I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
Can I repeat that? I don't know if there was noise. My boyfriend's just cleaning the house.
It's okay.
You can edit this out, right? I can. The
Yeah,
recording.
I will
Okay.
say to the person. It's in the. Let me check just a minute. I can see the minute.
Yeah.
No, but
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, I will say him.
Okay, it was just like a real loud noise.
Yeah, but it was okay. It was okay.
Okay. What I wanted to tell a story where a friend of mine, she decided to go a year without something. And she was even like, she created a post on Facebook asking, what should I go 1 year without? And people said, without buying new clothes. And she actually managed to do it. And she said, like, you get so creative, you realize that you totally don't need all the things. Like, you buy them just out of habit. Every month you go, you do it. But she said it was such an easy like experiment because the year after that she did a year without sugar, and that was way harder. Obviously,
I can't believe it.
I can. I mean, she's a person of strong will. I admire that. I'm not saying like. I think just like with dieting, maybe we shouldn't like limit ourselves because I think when you're not buying anything and then suddenly you find some shop and then it's like with dieting. I don't think it's a good idea to really just say no to yourself, but it's exactly all these points in this article are about being considerate, being thoughtful, asking yourself, why do I need it? Do I really need this item? What will I wear it with? So yeah, just putting some thoughts in consideration. And I think that's what I hope people take from this webinar. Like the main thought that sure, it takes some time, it takes some effort. What is greenwashing? What are those vague things they're promising to us? But I think it's all worth it in the end. And just, it makes you feel better. Like it makes you feel like you're a better human being if you're contributing to sustainability. And that's like the best thing about it.
Sure, I agree. Like making like feeling that you're helping or doing something that you're being more conscious. This is the best. Also, it's like for your wallet. I mean, you go and you're not buying like crazy. You are also intelligent buying. Like I need this and I like it. You know, it's not like I don't know how it will look. It's like when something moves you, like you say, like oh my god, I love this. If like it's okay. I mean, it's not like you can do it. But it's like I don't know if I like it or not, and I will just buy 5 of these and without knowing. It's like no, not okay.
Yeah, totally. There was another tip, and it says to know your materials. And here I have to reveal I learned something new because when I hear, clothes, materials, I'm not like a person who works in that industry. But for example, they recommend to avoid virgin synthetics, such as polyester. And even not working in fashion, I am aware what polyester is. And it's basically most of the clothes that we buy, it says polyester. And the issue with that is that 55% of clothes globally, they're made of that material and derived from fossil fuels. And it basically takes years to break it down. So not all natural materials are made the same. Organic cotton, for example, uses significantly less water than conventional cotton and doesn't use harmful pesticides. So things like that. I'm sorry if I'm talking like too formal right now, but like it's good to inform yourself
Of
about
course.
that.
Yeah,
and
sure,
who
totally.
made your clothes? Like who is the producer? If it says like made in Indonesia, in Vietnam, and all those places, we probably know it's not the best sign. And not to say you can't buy it, but just be aware and
Yes,
ask
yes.
yourself like why you're doing this, and maybe people are underpaid and being treated badly. So.
And also it's about the skin. Sometimes if it's not the correct material, you can have some reaction. And you need to look also for the cotton one that it saves. And I think that this is the best for the human skin because it let it more fresh to breathe. Because the other synthetic sometimes it can appear make like pH or change your pH or something like that. I also read about it.
Really? I
Yeah.
didn't know that it can be like that. Even like
Yes.
change your pH of your skin. That's
Yes.
crazy.
Yeah. That's crazy. I know.
Yeah. I think what else comes to my head is that you can take care of your clothes and try to ensure that your clothes has a second life. Because speaking of myself, I already bought all these big amounts of clothes. I can go back in time, but at least I can try to take good care of my clothes, to care about environmental footprint and not to increase it by just throwing these things away. I'm not saying like, of course, some clothes, if it has holes or something, even that you can give rebirth to that clothes, but there are always ways. Like my grandma, she's like a genius in fixing things. So when I have such issues, I always bring it to her. And yeah, I think that's also a cool tip to consider. Try to like, I know that some clothes maybe we're tired of wearing, but try to get creative with it. Try to, maybe if you have long jeans, you can always make shorts out of that, and that already looks a little good. YouTube can help to do so many things, and with fashion, that's not an exception. You can just find ways to like remake your t-shirts into a dress or whatever else. It's really cool.
Yeah, yeah, this is good. If you have pets also, you can create there some nice t-shirt for your dog or or something like that. I mean, you can use it
Yeah.
like you if it has a lot of holes, you can reuse it for cleaning like the house or I don't know, like million of things that you can have like make the use of this cloth.
Yeah, no, that's true. What other tips? There is a tip to try and reduce water footprint because the production of textiles uses 93 billion cubic meters of water annually, and that's the equivalent of 37 million Olympic swimming pools. That just already sounds scary.
It's crazy.
But needless to say, yes, we should be more careful with the water consumption and water footprint. There are like droughts in so many places. People don't have access to drinking water, and just to think about how much water is being used just to produce, I don't know, like running pants for us. And I watched this documentary. I think it's available on Netflix with Hassan, who's the presenter, and he actually made an excellent documentary about the topic of sustainable fashion. And he talked about even like running pants. They use water, they use oil, they use things you cannot even imagine that go into production of that. And I was just like really shocked about that.
I didn't know that it was so much water. Like in my personal knowledge, I didn't know that it was so much water. But after seeing this, like I'm
Yeah.
impacted, and I need really to like have it in my mind every time that I will buy something because it's crazy the amount of water.
And you mentioned cotton actually, and organic cotton uses significantly less water than conventional cotton, for example. While the use of low water dyes also reduces water consumption.
Sure. Yeah.
So stuff like that. And yeah, I think those are really helpful tips that I learned for myself, and I hope youth time readers can also enjoy them and try to apply them. Because, like I said, we are not here to really teach people. I'm also learning every day, and I think that's the main point, that we're learning together, and in the end of the day, you're feeling better yourself if you're following those things.
Yeah,
So
yeah, of course. I think that this for me was also necessary. Talking with you and going over these points, it's really like shocking in some way, well, like in good and in bad way, of course. But I really will take it seriously because, of course, I want that my future generations, my family can enjoy a good like, planet and we still have our reserves of water and, just keep the mind learning. No, there is the phrase that it says the better thing that you can do is to don't know nothing. Keep the mind
mm-hmm.
always like learning. So yeah,
Totally.
Yeah, now I'm
People,
learning.
people who say they figured it all out, they're the people I'm scared of. I think we should always keep our head open for new things and new opportunities. And when environmental activists, for example, like Greta Thunberg, who I really admire,
Hmm. Hmm.
when they talked about like, that our world is in danger, a lot of people like instead of actually listening, they prefer to just like shut it down, to focus on things that are not relevant. And I think it's great that there are those people who actually choose their time wisely to speak up about these important issues. And I very much support it. For me, it was all about like learning, because I would say 10, 15 years ago, people would not discuss not even sustainable fashion in general, that there are issues that we need to fix them. And I think people who actually love this world and love this planet are the ones who can also talk about its imperfections. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's all interconnected,
Yes.
I think we can't talk about animal cruelty. Oh, that's actually another point that I didn't mention. For example, animal cruelty, how often things are being tested on animals.
Yes.
That just breaks my heart, because we all are animal lovers when it comes to watching cute kitten videos on YouTube. But when it actually comes to, buying things, I think many people don't see, it's not that tangible, they don't see the direct effect that it has. Unless you see, I don't know, animal being harmed, you wouldn't buy the dress anymore. But because you don't really understand how it's all
Sure.
working, you end up being part of this problem. And I think I have been part of the problem, and many people
Me
who are
too.
just like unconsciously. But that's a good place to start,
Yeah, yeah, of course. Like you
Yeah.
say, everything is interconnected and sustainability is like big. It can be so big, but like you say, step by step and knowing a little bit more, it make you better in your like in your daily life to act
Yeah.
different.
Yeah.
It's like the sand, no? Like it's like just a piece of sand, but if you start putting it and then you say, I don't know, to your friend like, hey, watch this video, you that you like fashion, just take it. I don't know, it's like always helping.
I think it stays in subconscious. Like next time this happens, you will say, well, maybe I shouldn't do that, and start with yourself. And then next time you can let your friends know. And I think that's a big thing too, that we can raise awareness, and it's in our hands to be able to talk about it and not to shy away from it, because starting with yourself is a great place. Not to be like preaching to your friends, because I don't think that's working with anything. Like if you try to tell people to be vegans for whatever reason, I think it has the opposite effect. But just like sharing your, for example, I told you about this app Vinted, and a friend of mine got curious about it, and I immediately was like, oh my God, it's so good. I'm actually getting rid of unnecessary things and making other people happy, and also earning a little money from that. So it's like win, 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 win. There is no losing in that game.
Yeah, like
And she
the
got
app.
her profile, so
Yes.
it's cool. It's just sharing is caring, basically. It's my
Yeah, yeah. I
point.
mean, all these new ideas that they are now in the social media, they're amazing, amazing. The apps, everything is great. It's a way exactly to earn.
Yeah, totally. So yeah, I think I kind of walked through the major points, and maybe you can put the link to the article that inspired
Yeah,
both of us to
we
come up
can.
with this webinar. I think it sums up. It has a lot of like information, for example, about certifications that you have to check, the labels. I couldn't really fit it all in, but I think
Is deep. Is deep. We go
yeah.
into the important points, but definitely this is deep. We will tag for sure the article. And I want to say you thank you for accepting the invitation. I mean, you're a great ambassador in youth time, and also I'm very happy that you take this step in our webinar. I will be more than happy to talk again with you with another topic. And yeah, well, that's all. You want to add something else?
Thank you so much for having me and coming up with this brilliant idea. I look forward to future conversations with you. It's been a
So
pleasure.
thank you so much, and to all persons that are looking us, thank you, and we hope that you enjoyed and see you soon, very soon.
And if you have any questions
Yeah,
regarding
sure.
anything, leave your comments down
Yeah, of
there.
course. Leave your comments, give like, and if you have some further questions, I don't know, for Katerina, I will let her know, or we can do there
Oh,
something.
and I have a video about sustainable fashion where I'm talking to a young designer. It's on my YouTube channel, so maybe we can also add it in comments. And we also go through many things, and she kind of gives her insights. So if you can share that, that would be also cool. I think because it's super like related to what we've been discussing.
Sure, sure. So thank you so much, and we see you in the next time.
Bye bye. Thank you.
Bye.